Here are the world's craziest prison escapes, starting with the slippery and heading straight for the utterly unimaginable. We're uncovering stories of inmates who pulled off some of the most jaw-dropping breaks. The Octopus Escape. Imagine being so flexible that you could squeeze through a food slot in a jail cell. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what Joy Got Buck, a 50-year-old yoga master turned escape artist, did in a feat that would make even an octopus green with envy. That's just the beginning of this incredible tale. Back in September 2012, Choi found himself behind bars yet again, this time accused of robbery. His resume? Well, it's not your typical CV. It includes a whopping 23 years of bouncing in and out of jail. But those years weren't wasted. They were packed with intense yoga practice. And this jailbird wasn't about to let bars keep him caged for long. No siree. Fast forward 5 days later, in the dead of night, and there's Choi slathering his body with lotion, and voila! He was all ready to slip through a food slot that's no bigger than a hardcover book. Wait, what? You know, they always say, don't drop the soap, but they never say anything about the lotion.
Yeah, because no one thought it'd be the key to freedom.
Precisely, my friend. It is not just skincare, it's my getaway plan. So how did he manage this? By turning into a human octopus, apparently. Head? Check. Shoulders? Check. Hips? Uh-oh. Come on, don't fail me now, Yoga. Maybe I should have skipped dessert last night. But freedom waits for no man's behind. With a bit of struggle and some quick thinking to drop his shorts, it's freedom. And to trick the guards, he stuffed his bed with pillows under a blanket to fake a snooze. Classic movie trick. And the guards? Well, they were too busy snoring anyway, missing all the action. But here's where it gets movie-worthy. Our slippery friend didn't just stop at freedom. Oh no, he had the audacity to dive into a nearby home, swipe car keys and a credit card, and then bolt for the mountains. This guy was running circles around the cops, dodging checkpoints and playing hide and seek in the wilderness. For 2 days, helicopters and dogs trailed him, but Choi was a ghost, hiding by day and moving by night. Eventually, he was spotted hopping on a bus in Myeong, but claimed motion sickness and got off before he could be caught. The hunt intensified, and the whole ordeal turned into a sort of catch-me-if-you-can chase. The manhunt ramped up, but Choi was always one step ahead. Until he wasn't. After 6 thrilling days on the lam, this master of escape was finally caught hiding in a cardboard box on a rooftop. You'd think a rooftop would be the last place to look, right? But why not give it a shot? A rooftop? Really? Did you guys start looking in dumpsters too?
You're quite the Houdini, aren't you? What's with the box, Choi?
It's my new minimalist studio. Zen and the art of hiding.
Well, your studio tour ends here. Let's go.
Can I keep the box? It's kinda grown on me.
Maybe we'll consider a box in your new cell design.
Despite his protests of being framed, back to jail he went. This time in a cell with a food slot so small, not even a squirrel on a diet can make it through. The Maze Prison Break. Can you imagine Europe's most secure prison being outsmarted? No? But it happened during the gritty era of the 1970s and 80s. A period marked by violent political conflict in Northern Ireland. The supposedly impregnable Maze prison was cracked wide open. Not just a little jailbreak, but the most massive in British history, courtesy of 38 prisoners from the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, a paramilitary group fighting for Irish independence. Let's dive into how they turned a serene Sunday into an all-out escape saga. First off, the Maze wasn't just any old slammer. Built on an old Royal Air Force base, it featured 8 H-shaped blocks that were more like battlegrounds for IRA prisoners. Inside these H-blocks, tensions weren't just high, they were sky high, especially after the British government decided to strip IRA inmates of their political prisoner status in 1976. This sparked all sorts of protests. Refusing to shower? Check. Wearing blankets instead of orange jumpsuits? Check. Oh, and let's not forget the tragic hunger strike in 1981, where 10 inmates died, including their ringleader, Bobby Sands. Fast forward to 1983, and the IRA inmates saw the maze less like a prison and more like a challenge to overcome. So what's a prisoner to do? Plan an escape, of course. Alright, so we're doing this. We're really doing this.
Yes, but keep it down.
Remember, the walls have ears, and the gods have eyes. Got it. But how do we let the gods on our side?
Easy.
We'll kill them with kindness.
And then with,
Well, you know. Right, kindness first. Got any more of those chocolate bars to bribe them with? All out. Time to turn up charm to 11. Mine need to actually start being nice. Smile and wave, boys. Over the summer, these guys turned on the charm, buttering up the guards to snag all the juicy intel they needed. Friendly during the day, sneaky by night. Huh? Then, in a move that's half genius, half bonkers, they smuggled in 6 handguns, silencers included, because why not? And a mix of knives. How, you ask? That's the million-dollar question that even the guards still scratch their heads over. Then came the big day, September 25th, 1983, a quiet Sunday with minimal staff, perfect for a jailbreak. The plan kicked off with the inmates pretending to be good little cleaners until, bam, the code word bumper was shouted, and the guards found themselves staring down the barrels of smuggled guns. The plan? Simple but bold. Raise the guns high, take over the control room, and hijack a food delivery truck to escape. The escape was as cinematic as it gets. Inmates disguised as guards, while the real ones got pillowcases over their heads and a stern warning. We're not here for revenge. But let's not sugarcoat it. The escape turned deadly. Amidst the chaos, a prison officer tried to sound the alarm, only to be stabbed. Ouch! The inmates then made a mad dash for the gates, scaling fences and diving into freedom. Or so they thought. As they sprinted into the countryside, the reality of their fleeting freedom hit. A massive manhunt saw 19 of them recaptured within 24 hours. The rest made a beeline for the Republic of Ireland, some even making it all the way to the US under new identities. Those left behind, they boosted the IRA's morale sky high, while the prison guards were left with scars both physical and mental. This daring escape didn't just break bodies, it broke spirits and became the stuff of legend. And as for the maze, its doors swung shut for good in 2000, ending its chapter in the records of escape-proof prisons. El Chapo's escape. Ever wondered how a guy they call El Chapo, which literally means shorty, became such a big deal in the world of drug trafficking? Meet Joaquin Archibaldo Guzman Loera, a legend of the Sinaloa cartel whose small stature never stopped him from casting a long shadow over the criminal underworld. Let's dive into his twisted tale, only with more tunnels and an extra scoop of darkness. Born into a poor farming family in 1957 in Sinaloa, Mexico, Guzman's childhood was anything but sweet. With a rough start involving a lot of tough love from a not-so-loving father, who not only introduced him to the brutal world of drug farming, but also made sure to throw in some physical abuse for good measure.
We plant the seeds, but remember, it's not just corn that grows around you.
I see a lot of green, Dad. Are we starting a salad business?
Something like that, son. A very lucrative salad business.
By his late teens, he was deep in the game, plotting drug routes for Hector Luis Palma Salazar, a name you'd remember if drug lord trading cards were a thing. Fast forward to 1993, Guzman found himself in handcuffs, thanks to the Guatemalan army, quickly extradited to Mexico and thrown into a maximum security prison, the Altiplano. Now, you'd think that would slow him down, right? Wrong. Inside the so-called maximum security prison, Guzman ran his drug empire with a cell phone, enjoyed gourmet meals, the company of women, and volleyball. Yup, volleyball. Because why not? His life in jail was less Orange is the New Black and more of The Godfather.
Can I get the lobster tail tonight? Oh, and make sure it's gluten-free.
Gluten-free, senor. Since when are you on a diet?
Oh, I was just trying to stay in shape. Can't let the prison yard be my downfall.
Well, at least your taste isn't confined, huh? With guards and prison staff on his payroll, courtesy of the ever-obliging Deputy Director Damaso, it was almost like he never left the outside world. But all honeymoons end, and when his pal Damaso left amidst a corruption crackdown, El Chapo saw the walls of his comfy little setup start to crumble. The plot thickened in 2001, just as the US government was getting ready to invite him over, without the death penalty, mind you. El Chapo decided it's time for a dramatic exit. How, you ask?
I need options, and I need them now.
How about the helicopter?
Too noisy. Next, we could dig another tunnel. I've been there, dug that. Get creative.
A laundry cart. It's classic.
Exactly. No one will suspect it.
So one day he's in his cell, the next he's hiding in a laundry cart, rolling right out of the front door with a bit of help from his pals. But let's be real, that laundry cart story, some say he just walked right out, greasing palms along the way with a cool $2.5 million. After 13 years of playing hide and seek with the law, our hero decided to lay low. Not in some remote cave, but in bustling Culiacan and the sunny beaches of Mazatlan. Because why not live a little while on the run? Yeah, just popping out to see the sights and, visit your twin baby daughters? Sounds sweet, right? Well, not so much when it leads to your capture. In 2014, his luck ran out. Guzman's once trusty bodyguards were singing like canaries, tipping off the military about his whereabouts. They raided his ex-wife's place on the 16th of February, but surprise, surprise, the door was tougher than expected. Seriously, who has steel-reinforced doors? Well, El Chapo, of course. And while the military was banging on the door like it's Black Friday, El Chapo was miles away underground, literally tunneling his way to freedom. Fast forward to February 22nd, the scene shifted to a hotel right on the Mazatlan beachfront. Mexican and US agents hot on his trail knew he'd been lounging there for a couple of days. Their target? Room 401, where Guzman had been soaking up some sun, perhaps with his beauty queen wife, Emma. The agents busted in and what did they find? Our drug lord in his PJs, resisting arrest but not daring to grab his nearby rifle. Amid the chaos, he's nabbed, confirmed by fingerprint, and whisked off to a max security prison in Almoloya de Juarez, where his life of luxury turned into a military confinement saga. No windows, no chit-chat, and definitely no sports. While the rest of us binge-watch our favorite shows, he was probably counting bricks. After just 16 months back in the slammer, on July 11, 2015, he vanished into thin air. Or more accurately, underground. Here's the scoop. The last time anyone saw El Chapo, it was just before 9 p.m., near the one spot in his cell where the security cameras couldn't peep, the shower area. That's right, the cameras had a blind spot, and oh boy did he use it to his advantage. For 25 whole minutes, he was MIA, until the guards smelled something fishy and checked his cell. Surprise, surprise, he was gone. Poof, like a ghost. Now, the escape wasn't just a dig a hole and run kind of deal. This was an engineering marvel, a mile-long tunnel starting right beneath his shower. We're talking about a 33-foot deep drop, which he descended using a PVC ladder. Imagine that. The tunnel was no crude hole either. It was 5 feet and 7 inches tall and 30 inches wide, decked out with artificial lighting, air ducts, and built with top-notch materials. This isn't your average DIY project. It's a subterranean escape route fit for a kingpin. Oh, and the cherry on top? A motorcycle rigged on rails, zipping materials back and forth, and possibly El Chapo himself. Talk about making an exit with style, while the guards are left scratching their heads. Fast forward a bit and the whole place was on lockdown. Outside, it's like a Hollywood action movie. Helicopters buzzing in the sky, checkpoints everywhere, and even the Colombian government was sending help to catch him. Talk about international fame, huh? Now, hideouts are key in the fugitive's life, right? El Chapo is also chilling in a quiet house in Los Moches, buzzing with armed guards, when suddenly a big taco order tipped off the authorities.
Let's order 100 tacos. 100. Planning a party, boss. Just feeling extra hungry today. Right, because nothing says low profile like 100 tacos. Exactly. Keep them guessing.
The raid kicked off, dubbed Operation Black Swan, and just when you think our guy got caught, nope, he slipped away through another secret tunnel. Like a scene straight out of a spy movie, emerging 1.5 kilometers away to jack a car at gunpoint. As if that wasn't intense enough, when the cops finally caught up with him, El Chapo tried to bribe them like he always did.
So, what's it gonna be? Money? Jobs? I can do houses too.
I've always wanted a beachfront property.
Done. And maybe a small palace for your mom?
Tempting, but I think she'd rather see you behind bars. And there you go. El Chapo switched gears and went full movie villain.
You are all going to die.
Spoiler alert, they didn't. The cops snapped a few pics, sent them to their boss, and got tipped off that an army of assassins was en route to bust him out. Their next move, a motel hideout while waiting for the cavalry, aka the Marines. Finally, El Chapo was extradited to the US, facing a barrage of charges. He got a life sentence plus 30 years in the Supermax prison of ADX Florence, and he was ordered to cough up over $12 billion. From tacos to tunnels and bribes to bad luck, El Chapo's story is less about rising to the top and more about digging to rock bottom. And remember, in the real world, not every villain gets a sequel. Alcatraz Prison Escape. What if I told you that on a cold night in 1962, 4 crafty criminals planned to disappear from Alcatraz? Yup, that Alcatraz. The one they call The Rock, the super secure slammer sitting smack in the middle of the chilly waters off San Francisco. Who in their right mind would even think of busting out of there? Well, these Houdini wannabes did. We've got Frank Morris, the brainy bad boy, dropped into a life of crime when he was just a kid. The Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, who swapped farm life for the bank robbing biz. And Alan West, the guy always in the wrong place at the wrong time, and most probably regular at getting arrested. Now these guys weren't your average Joes. They'd been in and out of the clink enough to form a sort of bad boys club. When they landed side by side in Alcatraz, it was like a reunion. Nights were for whispering through the walls, and boy did they cook up a wild plan. Okay boys, first things first, we're gonna need spoons. Lots of them. Spoons? Frank, we planning a prison break or a giant ice cream party? With enough digging, maybe both. You in or what? I'm in. Worst case, we start an ice cream shop on the beach after we're out. With Frank as the mastermind, they decided they were gonna dig their way out, build a raft, and say sayonara to Alcatraz. How, you ask? Well, they snagged some saw blades, nicked a few spoons, and turned a busted vacuum cleaner into a drill. By night, they worked under the radar, making a way out right under their sinks, hiding their mess behind fake cardboard grills painted to look like the real deal. And the noise, covered by Morris squeezing tunes out of an accordion during the prison's music hour. Bet those tunes were anything but music to the guards' ears. Their true masterpiece was hidden above their cells in a secret workshop. They stitched together a raft and life jackets out of raincoats. Yeah, raincoats, and melted the seams over hot pipes to waterproof them. And for a finishing touch, they even whipped up dummy heads using a mixture of soap and toilet paper, complete with real hair. Thank you very much, barbershop. So realistic that the night guards thought they were fast asleep while they were busy building their escape gear.
Frank, are you sure my dummy looks sleepy enough?
John, it's a head made of soap. As long as it's not snoring, we're good.
Mine's got better hair than me. I think the guards will notice.
Then the big night, June 11th, 1962. The raft was ready, the coast was clear, and the stars were aligned. But oh snap, not for Alan West. He got stuck, literally. The concrete patch-up he used to cover the vent dried up solid, trapping him inside.
Guys, I think I'm stuck. This isn't part of the escape plan, is it?
No, Alan. Becoming part of the architecture was definitely not part of the plan.
I guess I'll have to RSVP no to our freedom party tonight.
Don't worry, we'll send you a postcard from the outside. Great, just make sure it's waterproof. And Alan had to give up and go to bed for real. Meanwhile, Frank and the Anglin brothers were making their great escape. They hit the roof, dodged guards, climbed down using kitchen pipes, hopped a couple of fences, and made a dash to the darkest part of the island, where no searchlight could spot them.
All set, Frank. It's now or never.
Just think, tomorrow morning we could be having breakfast in a place without bars.
Or meat breakfast for a shark. Either way, no more cafeteria food.
To freedom or fish food then. Finally at the shore, with hearts pounding, they inflated their DIY raft and set sail towards freedom, disappearing into the dark night. The next morning, the guards found the dummy heads in the beds, and all hell broke loose. A massive search kicked off, and all they found were a few remnants, a paddle, a life jacket, and scraps of raft. But what about our daring trio? Not a trace. So, did they make it to freedom, or did the treacherous waters claim them as their own? Some say they're out there, toasting to their escape. Others think they never made it ashore. The FBI might have given up in 1979, but the US Marshals? They're not closing the book until these crafty convicts turn 100. Just like these daring prison escapes, some scams are almost too bold to believe. Ever heard of someone selling pure thin air for $242 million? Stick around and I'll reveal how this genius pulled off a scam so outrageous you have to see it to believe it. Don't go anywhere, I'll see you there.